Plus actually is about 10% better performance than N7. And in terms of area, it will be also about 10% smaller. But if you put all together, like a critical layer, that by using EUV, you reduce the critical layer number. So we expect per wafer you are getting more than 10% more dies from N7 as compared with N7 Plus as compared with N7.
Can you explain the last point? You have about the critical layer, you have less layer with N7 Plus?
Yeah, because we're using the EUV to replace some of the immersion layer. So give you one example, one EUV layer can replace the 3P, 3E, replace the 3 layers of immersion. So in calculation of the defect density, you get more dies.
All right. The next question will be coming from Credit Suisse and Randy Abrams.
Yeah, thanks, Chairman. Glad to have you back, and hope this isn't the last time that we see you here. The first question, wanted to ask, your growth, both for the industry and TSMC, is above trend. The prior few years were only low single digit for the industry. I'm curious how much you think is from the structural factors, meaning the new growth platforms, and how much you see is coming from cyclical factors we sometimes see in an upturn.
All right, Randy, your question is, with respect to our projected growth of this year, both the semiconductor and TSMC are above the industry average trend. And so the higher number, is it due to structural or due to cyclical factors?
By structural, you mean permanent?
Or I'd say a new trend, based on the growth platforms, a new trend to higher growth.
Say it again.
By structural, a new trend to higher growth, say from these drivers like IoT, high-performance computing.
Well, it's has always been our intention to be fully competitive. And therefore, the least we want to do is to maintain our market share. And now, as I said a little earlier, the total foundry, all the foundries in the world, total foundry revenue will grow 9 to 10% this year. And I expect TSMC to grow revenue 10 to 15%. So that means perhaps a small gain in market share. Now, what do we do to earn that? Now, then I have to go back to, the offset strengths we have. We lead in technology, we lead in manufacturing capability, and I believe we lead in customers' trust.
Okay. The second question I wanted to ask was, this year you already generated excess cash flow after paying the dividend, and you're talking about lower capital intensity the next few years. So if you could give a view now on outlook for dividend or broader payout, just with this cash generation, if you could start to accelerate what we've seen the past couple years.
Laura.
Randy, we had a very good free cash flow last year, and we also believe the free cash flow is going to be good in the future years with what you just said. So we will stick on our plan to gradually increase our cash dividend every year. For next year, I think announcement will be made in February after the board meeting.
All right. Next question will be coming from Deutsche Bank, Michael Zhou.
Hi. Regarding the 2018 US dollar sales guidance, so do you have any color for what area actually exceed your expectations 6 months ago in terms of demand outlook? Because in the past, you mentioned that long-term sales CAGR could be 5 to 10%, right? So is any area demand is really stronger than you expected before, or really exceed your internal planning in terms of demand outlook for 2018?
All right. Question from Michael really is that since we have stated our CAGR to be 5 to 10%, and this year the 10 to 15% is higher than the CAGR of 5 to 10. So he wants to understand where the extra strength is coming from.
Where, what?
The extra strength. Which area we are doing stronger than normal?
Well, mainly it's in the high-performance computing platform. And as I said a little earlier, that is due to the expanding usage of AI devices in all devices. And I also said it's the continuing strong demand of cryptocurrency mining.
For a follow-up question, so for AI, if Edge AI, do you put the category smartphone AI into the HPC, or you still put in the smartphone segment? Smartphone.
Is the AI in
the AI-related application, if it is used in smartphone, do we categorize it in HPC or in smartphone? I believe we put it in smartphones.
Okay. Thank you. My second question is regarding 7nm.
Okay. Is that one question? That's what you are asking a second question now, or what?
Just a follow-up. Second question.
Are you asking a second question now?
Yeah, second question.
Oh, this is your second question, actually, right? Well, anyway, let's answer that question. I think, well, either Mark or CC, you can take it. Yeah. Okay, CC, you want to take it? Yeah.
The AI in the smartphone will category into the mobile smartphone.
Oh, thank you. My second question is regarding your 7nm sales portion in Q4 this year in 2018. 7nm sales portion in Q4 and the 2018. Q4 this year and the whole year. Do you have any forecast?
Well, I can say probably the whole year will be the 10% revenue. Okay.
All right. We have to move to the next analyst, which is Morgan Stanley's Charlie Chang.
Thanks, Chairman. TSMC is really phenomenal. So my first question is kind of long. It's again on cryptocurrency. First of all, can you quantify the cryptocurrency contribution as you did last quarter? I remember it was like $350 million to $400 million in 3Q. Can you give that data for fourth quarter and 1Q? So given that strength, can TSMC's 16nm fulfill the demand, and will TSMC expand capacity for this cryptocurrency mining? This is the first question. Thank you.
All right. Charlie's question is, can we disclose the proportion of revenue we get from cryptocurrency mining in the fourth quarter last year and the first quarter this year? And also, since this requires our 16nm capacity, are we able to fulfill the demand, or do we plan to expand capacity?
Stop there.
Okay.
I heard the first part. What's the second part?
Second part is, will we be adding capacity to satisfy the demand?
To satisfy crypto demand?
Right.
I don't think we want to disclose the revenue amount for crypto. Do we? No, we don't. Now, as to the second question, No, because of the volatility, as I said several times, because of the volatility of the cryptocurrency demand, the possible volatility, I should say. We are not going to add capacity specifically for cryptocurrency. But we look at cryptocurrency demand as a part of our high-performance computing platform demand. I mean, there are other parts of the high-performance computing that are also fairly volatile, though not as volatile as the cryptocurrency. So we look at the whole thing as a whole. And we are definitely adding capacity for the high-performance computing platform.
Thank you. So my second question is going to be very brief. It's about your antitrust investigation, given TSMC's strong industry position. So how company is going to deal with this antitrust issue, and will that impact your 2018 operation? Thank you.
I think Charlie is referring to recently the EU Commission is investigating whether or not TSMC has violated any antitrust.
Well, we do not think that we have any problem. However, we'll cooperate with whatever government agency that investigates it. We'll cooperate fully.
Thank you.
Next question will be coming from Daiwa's Rick Xu.
Yeah, thank you for taking my questions. Happy New Year, Dr. Chang and all the senior management. My first question is, could you give us maybe some ballpark number about the revenue breakdown of your 2018 revenue outlook in terms of the application HPC, IoT, automotive, and mobile?
Well, you know, those four are our growth platforms. We do have other platforms which happen to be declining, actually. You know, so giving you the percentage actually doesn't tell you anything. But can we, Laura or CC, do we? Yeah, I mean, he wants to know the percentage of revenue in HPC, in mobile, in IoT, and I think maybe you can give them some approximate numbers. Yeah.
All right. Approximately, actually, the mobile smartphone, it will be half of a
mobile.
Will be about half, and then followed by the HPC. That will be about 25%, and another probably around 10% from automotive and IoT, and then rest of that. Is that answer your question?
Yeah, that's very, very clear. Thank you so much. That's pretty good direction. Then the second question is about your inventory. I know Dr. Chen was talking about your NQ4 inventory was a few days above seasonal, and I'm not sure if you also commented about your inventory view for the first quarter this year. It's going to be coming down and tracking the seasonal average, or am I missing something?
We exit 4Q17 with a few days above the seasonality.
Yeah.
And then we expect it start to increase again because of our customers start to build for the New Year's. And so the inventory will increase a little bit, but it's still the seasonal pattern. It's nothing surprise as compared with the previous years.
All right, thank you so much.
Next question will be coming from Credit Lyonnais' Sebastian Ho.
Thank you. So my first question is on the what's your expectation for the growth from your Chinese customers? If I calculate correctly, it seems like your revenue from China has doubled in the past 3 years. And do you expect such doubling pattern to persist in the next few years?
So Chinese customer has been growing quite fast. Do we continue to expect the percentage to our revenue will double in the next few years, as it has done?
Do we continue to what?
Expect the customer's revenue to double in the next few years.
Well, first, the Chinese customers have grown very fast. I guess, you want to answer it? I was going to say, I think the cryptocurrency thing, which is the volatile one, is a part of Chinese customers. Yeah, it has been growing fast. Yeah, you go ahead and answer the rest, okay?
Well, if you ask me whether China customer will double in the next few years, certainly I think it has full potential to achieve that. Cryptocurrency is part of it, but even after cryptocurrency cool and other application will continue to sprout in China, I think.
You said cool, don't say cool. May not cool,
Just a follow-up on that, how do you see, besides cryptocurrency, how do you see also there is a rising numbers of the unicorn, the startup in China that want to design their ASIC, or a lot of them are working on AI. And do you also expect that to be a important growth driver for your Chinese revenue in the next few years, for that doubling pattern?
So Sebastian is wondering if beyond the cryptocurrency mining, there are other IC designers in China that focuses on AI, whether or not these type of applications will drive the doubling growth of the customers.
Look, we are everyone's foundry. We are everyone's foundry. And being the technology, capacity, manufacturing leader, we are really in a very good position. So, all right. So, if they grow, great. We will grow with them. No. And we don't particularly care customers in which region grow, So we are kind of region blind, okay, as far as where the growth comes from. We're everyone's foundry. Everyone in the world, we're everyone's foundry. And usually the customer that has innovations, has innovative designs that grow the fastest. And so I'm sure that the Chinese innovations will grow very fast. But then the rest of the world is not, just staying put. They are growing too. I don't know. Does that answer you? Yeah. Does that answer your question? Or?
Yes. Thank you, Chairman.
Yeah.
Second question. Yeah. Second question is on the. I wonder what's the TSMC expectation and your estimate or evaluation on the raw wafer supply shortage. And remember the same time last year, CFO gave an estimate about how the price hike will impact the margin and profit. I wonder if you have similar numbers you can give this year.
Or do you want to answer the question?
The raw wafer has been in short supply in 2017. We expect the short supply will continue through this year as well. But fortunately, because we are big purchaser, so we were able to engage some of the vendor in the long-term contract. So we should be safe in terms of supply.
And how about the price increase impact on the profitability?
Yeah, the price has indeed increased and has been affecting our margin as well. I think maybe 6 months ago we have indicated the margin impact for 2017 will be around 0.2 percentage point something. With the continual hike in price and the impact in 2018 will be bigger. So we expect the impact will be maybe half point, 0.5 to 1 percentage point impact to our gross margin. Well, anyway, we'll try to offset that with some of the productivity improvement and other cost reductions.
Is it possible to pass the cost increase to your customer?
No, I don't think so.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, I think it's about time that we go to the call first because there are quite a few analysts queuing on the line. So operator, could you please go to the first caller on the line?
Sure. The first question comes from the line of Maggie Hussaini from SICC. To answer the question.
Thank you, and thanks for taking my question. My first one has to do with the impact of EUV on your capital intensity. And when you look into 2019, 2020, is EUV actually helping you with lower capital intensity? Is it helping you with lower capital spend? And if not, when should we expect to see that? And I have a follow-up.
We spent several hundred million in EUV since last year. And going forward, this year and next year, the EUV investment will continue to go up. However, the number has been included in our overall CAPEX budget, which I was just mentioning, 10 to 11 billion. Well, it is true that the CAPEX per 1,000 wafer investment will be higher if you move into the more leading-edge technology, particularly 5 nanometer. But also, the purpose of introduction of EUV to simplify the process. So with the process simplification, therefore the overall patterning cost will not increase compared to the multi-level patterning or the immersion version. So that was the simple answer to your questions.
Thank you. Moving on to advanced packaging, non-wafer revenues in 18, 19, 2020. How should we think about the diversification, scaling of info and also CoWoS? Is there any number you can provide us, or perhaps qualitatively you can help us? Again, the question has to do with revenue contribution from system and package, info and CoWoS in 18, 19, and 2020.
So Mehdi's question is regarding advanced packaging in terms of its revenue contribution to TSMC in 2018 all the way to 2020.
Say it again.
The advanced packaging, such as info and CoWoS, the contribution to TSMC's revenue in percentage.
Laura, yeah.
I will talk about the whole assembly and packaging service in TSMC instead of just single out info or CoWoS. Okay. The backend service accounts for about 7% of TSMC revenue in 7% of TSMC revenue in 2017. With the continual growth in particularly info and CoWoS going forward, we expect the percentage will go up slightly in out years.
Great.
Okay, we should go to the next caller on the line. Operator, please.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the line of Roland Shu from Citi. Ask your question.
Hi, good
afternoon. Thanks for taking my question. Mark, you mentioned there's increasing IDM also in changing the new technology. However, we suspect one of your IDM customers is insourcing back-end product this year. So for this year, do you see the total IDM outsourcing trend will be increased more than the IDM insourcing trend?
Roland, I think you are asking if TSMC will continue to see the IDM outsourcing as a trend. And then are you asking some proportion or percentage? No?
No, the proportion and also maybe for the total revenue contribution.
Revenue contribution and
of
proportion
IDM, IDM outsourcing. Mm-hmm. Do we even have a number on that, Laura? To answer the first question, whether the IDM outsourcing will continue, yes, I think it will. But on the second part of the question, is there a number, that indicate? Well,
we don't have a number. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, frankly, I would say that almost without exception, every IDM has become fab light, almost without exception. There are exceptions. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And all I'm saying, excuse me, all I'm saying is that those that are already fab light will become fab lighter and lighter. Yeah.
Then I think another question to Mark is, Mark is the outsourcing in new technology. Can Mark, you have more color on what kind of the technology with IDM looking for, and in what kind of applications they are outsourcing to foundry? Thanks.
Yeah, Mark.
Yes, IDM has not been building new fabs for quite some time. But as technology progressing, and when it reached to below 90 nanometer, and they almost solely depend on the foundry support. And that's what we see, the continued trend. And all of those are specialty technologies.
Mm-hmm. But it is totally new to TSMC, or it actually is new to the IDM.
What was the question?
Yeah. Right. The technologies, are these new to TSMC or new to IDM?
Both for new to the IDM and also new for TSMC.
Okay, so this technology, what kind of applications for this technology will be?
Applications.
Well, mostly in the automotive and IoT, in those two categories.
Okay. Thank you. I'll leave it on my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Operator, can we continue to the next caller, please?
Yes. Our next question comes from the line of Stephen Palaio from HSBC. Please ask the question.
Yes, just one quick follow-up on crypto. I know you don't want to disclose what it was in the fourth quarter, but I'm wondering if you could at least disclose what it was for full year 2017, and then maybe just directionally. Is it increasing every quarter for you?
All right, cryptocurrency proportion to TSMC's revenue. Can we disclose what's the impact, what's the proportion in 2017, and what's the direction quarter over quarter during this year? Whether it is increasing every quarter or increasing in some quarter, decreasing in some quarter.
Well, CC, Mark, you want to answer that question?
Well, the cryptocurrency mining the demand to TSMC actually in last year, of course, we saw a strong increase in the second half of last year. But after that, I think it's keep a little bit flat for this year, throughout this year.
Okay, fair enough. And then I guess I want to ask you a little bit about above 10 nanometer. If you look on the fourth quarter, it looks like if we excluded 10 nanometer, the rest of the company, roughly 75% of revenues, was down about 8% quarter on quarter. And things like consumer were off pretty significantly. Even 28 nanometer was off 15%. So I guess I'm trying to understand, is that normal seasonality? I would have thought we were seeing broader strength from an overall semi cycle when we look beyond just 10 nanometers.
So Stephen's curiosity is about our fourth quarter. Since 10 nanometer accounted for 25% of our fourth quarter revenue, if we take that out, the non-10 nanometer business is a decline of 8% quarter over quarter in a supposedly seasonally strong quarter. Is that normal?
Well, to answer that question, actually, if you take out the 10 nanometer that representing a big portion of the smartphone business, so I don't know, if you take out the smartphone, which is about 50% of TSMC revenue, cannot be say others is a continuous stronger fourth quarter or something like that. So it's not very appropriate just take out one node by talking the whole market segment. I'm talking about a smartphone, HPC. In fact, really the HPC increased. But entering into the first quarter, the smartphone seasonality dropped, and the HPC continued to be strong.
Okay, if I could just follow up quickly to that. What do you think 10 nanometer will then be in the first quarter? How big of a seasonal decline do you see in the first quarter? That's it for me.
He's asking us to give a guidance on the first quarter this year, 10 nanometer contribution.
The first quarter 10 nanometer is decreasing because of, as I said, the seasonality of the smartphone business.
Okay, I think we have answered Stephen's questions. Thank you. And now we are coming back to the floor. First, we are going to ask JP Morgan's Gokul to ask his question.
Thank you. I had a couple of questions on 7 nanometer. Could you talk a little bit about what is your expected market share if we think about N7 and N7 Plus over the next couple of years? The second part is, I think Mark mentioned in the last call, more than 50% of the tape outs for 7 are HPC related. Could you talk about what could be the size of HPC related production revenues? Because not every tape out is equal in volume now that you're getting closer to production. If you could give some color on that.
Can you repeat the question?
Right. Goku's question is first asking us to quantify over our market share at the 7 and 7 plus nanometer. This is his first question for the next few years, market share.
Our market share on 7 and 7 plus.
Right.
Well, you know, we haven't even started producing 7 yet. Okay. Is that a question? Or
yeah, that's your question, right?
We intend, I can only say, we intend to have a very high market share, at least on 7, which we will start producing
this year in the end of first half.
June. He means June, the end of first half, okay, which we will start producing in June. And we intend to have a very high market share. In fact, I would say 100%. Close anyway. Close, yeah. Now 7 plus comes even, what about 8?
And Google's second part of the question is, since we have said that more than 50% of the tape out is for HPC, so he wants to know whether or not it is also revenue percentage. Number of tape outs, HPC is more than 50%, whether or not the revenue contribution will also be more than 50%.
Yeah.
Well, I would say initially, actually, smartphone business still occupy the majority of 7 nanometers of business, followed by the HPC. But that will be a few quarters away.
So HPC will be more 2019 kind of, okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then there will be a follow-up question from the floor coming from Credit Suisse and Randy Abrams.
Yes, thank you. Actually wanted to go back to mobile. I think in the remarks earlier you mentioned it would be flat for the mobile platform this year. Could you talk, is that your view on the market, say for volume or content, maybe a change in that? Or is it a view temporarily there's some market share swings on that front?
You want to answer, CC?
Yeah. Let me comment on the mobile, the smartphone unit first. This year we expect the smartphone unit growth a little bit in the low single digit. However, the high-end smartphone was decreasing for this year, and middle-end and low-end will be increasing a few percentage points. So in total, it will be a low single digits growth. And for TSMC, that we saw that we combine all the smartphone together, and wafer revenue will be flat as compared with last year.
And the second follow-up, it's more broadly on the margins. You mentioned the wafer price impact. If you could give a broader picture on the other swing factors, a comment on depreciation, the 7 nanometer ramp, and FX, a view on that. And the second part is there a new seasonality for margin? It seems like the last year or two you've had better margin in first half, but then you have the new technology ramp in second half. So if you expect that same type of seasonality again.
There are several things that will affect our 2018 margin. Number one is wafer price. We were just talking about that. The other one is the ramping of 7 nanometer. We expect a ramping profile for 7 nanometer will be very similar to 10 nanometer at the same time. And we expect the margin dilution for the second half of this year will be 2 to 3 percentage point, which is also similar to 10 nanometer. Okay. Other than that, the foreign exchange it can move positively or negatively. It's totally out of our control. Okay. I don't know what to say about that. Okay. Other than that, we have been doing all our effort trying to plan the capacity better, reduce the cost, improve the productivity, and that would hopefully we can offset some of the potential negative factors. But having said so, as we have said, TSMC's financial goal for revenue on the next few years will be 5 to 10%, and the gross margin will be about 50%. But of course, every quarter can be different. For example, the first quarter, as I just guided, actually included about 2 percentage point inventory variations, which is a positive to first quarter. You know, as utilization move every quarter, that could be a factor. Okay. Yeah. Depreciation with 10.5 to 11 billion, we expect the depreciation grow year over year by mid-teens.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. All right, then follow-up question from Morgan Stanley's Charlie Chang.
Thanks for taking my question again. So actually two small follow-ups. So first of all, on the AI semiconductors. So now those ASIC design customized chip are taking place and to replace the GPU, right? So if that trend continue to happen, do you think they will impact your GPU foundry business? That is the first question. And second question is regarding the IDM outsourcing. I think the logic chip outsourcing, I think, is already very clear, right? But for those specialty semiconductor outsourcing, like power management IC, does that need some technology or process transfer from your IDM customers to TSMC? How does that work? Thank you.
First question is with respect to the growth of the ASIC customers, whether or not ASIC will gain more popularity over GPU, and if that is the case, what's going to impact TSMC because we have GPU business?
Yeah, why don't you answer that? Mark will answer the first question.
On the ASIC, AI ASIC, right? I think it, of course, the more as more customers getting into the AI ASIC, that part of the business will grow. However, it's also very clear that the GPU in some part of the market segment, for example, at least the data center, is very solid. So I see in the future different design occupy different part of the market, and that is the situation. So.
And this the second question?
Second question is the outsourcing from IDM beyond logic, such as specialty technology. Do we see how do we work with IDMs on those specialty technology when we phased in their technology to TSMC?
I think you answered that question earlier. I think while you brought up the point earlier, or somebody,
Okay, both. I think we have a very deep specialty technology development. Some of the IDM just use our own technology, particularly moving into the finer nodes. But they are in the older nodes, definitely, as their demand increases, we are also doing this phasing, not transfer, phasing. That means using our technology base to simulate their technology to do the foundry services for them.
Okay, follow-up question from the floor, and that will be coming from Deutsche Bank, Michael Zhou.
Thanks for taking my question again. First question is regarding your 16-nanometer growth out. Is that right? Your 16-nanometer revenue could be up year-on-year in 2018, or do you have any color for that?
16-nanometer?
Yes.
It's a little bit increasing.
Okay. One follow-up question is you mentioned cryptocurrency, right? So do you think in 2019 most of the cryptocurrency demand will shift to 7-nanometer? Or you think that people will still try to use legacy node in the future?
Yes, a lot of applications from these cryptocurrencies mining. Bitcoin, Litecoin, they are all different kind of applications. So they're using a lot of technologies, but most of them are advanced technology. From 7, 10, 16, 12, it's all.
Okay. Second question is, do you think your 28-nanometer sales will be up year-on-year this year, or be flat?
28-nanometer? This year will be a little bit decreasing.
Thank you.
Okay, we still have quite a few analysts waiting on the queue on the call, so I think we really need to go back to the call. Operator, could you please get to the next caller on the line?
Yes, ma'am. Next question comes from the line of Bill Lu from UBS. Please ask your question.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, and thanks for taking my question. I've had a chance to visit a few of our TSMC's customers recently, especially in the areas of HPC and cryptocurrency. What I seem to be hearing is that foundry supply, especially at the leading edge, is getting quite tight. Now, your guidance for the full year is obviously very good, but that 10 to 15%, is that constrained by supply or demand?
Bill, your background noise is actually quite strong, so let me see if I understand your question. You are asking whether or not 2018's 10 to 15% growth, are we constrained by capacity? Is that your question on the leading edge?
Yes. Does that reflect the demand environment, or is that constrained by capacity? Thank you.
What was the question again?
Whether or not our growth this year is constrained by capacity.
Is what?
Constrained. Limited by capacity.
Huh? Oh, the question is, do we have, is our 10 to 15% growth being limited by our capacity? No, it's not. Is it? A little bit? Yeah. A little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm. A little bit. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, Sorry, so the follow-up is there a situation where you may raise capacity and increase CapEx a little bit, or what would that be?
Please repeat your question again.
I'm sorry about the background noise. I'm just wondering, given that it is somewhat capacity constrained, what do you have to see to increase your capacity and CapEx?
Whether or not we will increase CapEx this year.
No, we have already given our guidance. Laura has already given her guidance on CapEx. And that is what we think we will spend. Mm-hmm. It's what you said, 10?
10.5.
10 to 10.5 to 11 billion. Yeah.
10.5 to 11 billion.
Bill, so we have answered your questions, right?
My second question is on 28 nanometers. Now, it looks like it's a little bit weaker in the short term. TSMC, I think, has been saying pretty consistently that the 28 demand is going to be long-lasting. I'm wondering if you still feel that. Any changes to the long-term outlook for 28?
So, as we said that we expect 28 nanometer to decrease a little bit this year. But at the same time, we also said the demand for 28 nanometer is long-term, is lasting. So, is this decline a temporary situation?
Judging from the tape-out activities, yes, we expect this decreasing is just a short-term phenomena. In the long term, we hope that the business will grow as the tape-out showed.
Mm-hmm.
So judging by the tape-out activities, when do you think the 28 demand will inflect?
28 will be flat? You mean? Oh.
No, when is the inflection point for 28 nanometer demand where it starts going up again?
When will it go up again? When will 28 nanometer business to go up again?
We certainly hope as soon as possible.
Well, look, there is the 22, and 22 is made on the same capacity as 28, and 22 is growing.
Yes, in the next few years, 22 will play the more important role.
So the question, to answer to the question, when will 28 go up again? My answer is that when the 22 grows sufficiently, and we expect that it will.
Okay, I think we have answered Bill's question. Let's move on to the next caller on the line. Operator, please.
Yes, next question comes from the line of Patrick Liao from Macquarie. Please ask your question.
Hi. I have only one question. Will a 7-nanometer yield rate start from a higher base, since more than 90% of equipment is compatible with 10-nanometer? Thank you.
Did you hear the question?
Would you
Yes.
please repeat?
7-nanometer yield rate. Patrick is asking whether 7-nanometer yield rate will start from a higher base because there's 90% equipment in common with the 10-nanometer.
Our progress in the 7-nanometer yield definitely is a little bit better than 10-nanometer at the same period of time.
Better.
Okay, thank you.
It's better.
Okay, now I